A SPAC transaction commences with a SPAC IPO and culminates in a D SPAC. And in the middle, quite often, you have a PIPE element to it as well. So let me demystify that for you. A SPAC is a special purpose acquisition company, usually sponsored by investors with a deep understanding of mergers, acquisitions. The SPAC IPO raises capital, which capital is kept in a cash box. The intention is to deploy that amount of cash raised in a D SPAC, which is a business combination with a target. It is usually accomplished by way of a merger or a reverse merger, and usually accomplished within a predefined period of time, governed by regulations. 18 to 24 months is the norm. Oftentimes, a SPAC transaction or the D SPAC, the business combination, is coupled with a PIPE element, and that is private equity investors participating in the transaction as well. This could be because you want long-term capital in investors to be investing in the transaction. It could also be because you have found a business combination which requires more capital than what the SPAC IPO has raised. So it has elements of capital markets, M&A, and private equity. Yes, due to India's foreign exchange regulations and tax regulations, a SPAC transaction as a means of capital raising may not be the best for every Indian company. For example, India as yet does not permit an Indian target to directly list offshore. India's regulations also do not easily permit an Indian target to merge with an offshore holding company, as is the norm when it comes to SPAC business combinations. So what does that leave you with? It effectively means that the Indian target needs to become a subsidiary of an offshore holding company, which then in turn does a business combination with the SPAC. Now, for that to be achieved, and also for the Indian shareholders to hold liquid stock of the SPAC listed shares, this means that the Indian shareholders need to migrate their shareholding from the Indian target to the offshore holding company. And that is where I think a lot of questions do come up, and you need to find solutions. So speaking for, taking the promoter for example, India's foreign exchange regulations allow an individual to remit only $250,000 per year outside India, including to subscribe to shares. Now that may not be adequate for the Indian promoter to migrate his or her shareholding offshore. Now that's not to say that there aren't solutions. For example, there is no restriction on the Indian promoter who subscribing to those shares of the offshore holding company by using cash generated outside India by the Indian promoter. India's foreign exchange regulations also allow the Indian promoter to be entitled to ESOPs being issued by the offshore holding company. But these are things that need to be thought through. As another example, let's talk about offshore investors, typically let's say private equity investors holding shares in the Indian target. Now for them to swap their shares in the Indian target for shares of the offshore holding company, foreign exchange regulations don't play a part, but tax can play an important role there.